Live from Los Angeles, welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessica Moyer. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Connect TV, as seen on Apple TV and Roku. It's going to be a Good Morning La La Land.
Definitely, especially with Wealth Wednesday. We're going to talk about mastering your life with masterminds. We are claiming our birthright of prosperity. We're going to talk to one gentleman how to build your assets through real estate and just taking on the conversation of wealth.
I want to build assets. I'm down.
I got some assets.
Well, we have an exceptional entrepreneur in the house we'd love to welcome to the show, Mr. Monty K. Lee Wynn. Good morning. He is the principal of Castro Capital, an insanely exceptional entrepreneur who has built 5 companies with over 160 employees and done over $1 billion in transactions, all before 40. How do you do that?
Well, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be on this show. You know, wealth is an interesting thing. Frankly, real estate is how we did it all. We started in multifamily real estate and basically grew our company. I love real estate. I started in single-family homes and small residential and moved to commercial real estate, and that's how we built it.
And the story goes from there. Well, here in Good Morning La La Land, we like to know, how do you even start your day? What's your morning routine like, Monty?
Oh gosh, I'm pretty routine oriented. I like to wake up. I like to do a little bit of yoga. I stretch. I get ready to go to the office and get my clothes assembled. And I always eat oatmeal and blueberries every morning. Just something healthy for the morning to get me started and get me going.
There's something powerful in consistency, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to talk to you more later in the show.
I think it's an interesting conversation. You know, of course, I've been in real estate since I was like 22 years old, and my son is in it. And it's interesting because I think that for those maybe out there that go, well, I'm not in real estate, what does this mean to me? I think that the principles within real estate you can apply to all areas of your life and wealth. So we'll get into that and make sure that this is a conversation for everybody that you can relate to, because building assets, whether it be in real estate or whether it be in anything, or just your assets of your friends or your ass, just kidding. It's a great conversation to just talk about wealth today. So I'm super excited about this.
Absolutely. Speaking of the entrepreneurial spirit, I'm so excited because, as seen on the Today Show, we have the flip-flop bitch bag. That's right. It's a mother-daughter power team, Cindy and Laura Maserati, and they have created a girls' night out essential, you guys. So how many times, Robin, you've seen this too?
Absolutely.
Have girls tried to walk home at the end of the night and thought, what am I going to do with my high heels? Well, this is your solution, ladies. It's super chic. It'll fit in pretty much any bag you wanted to take out for the night. Slip your flip-flops in before you go, and then open it up, and then there is a chic tote you can put your high heels in. How great is this?
I love that.
So I'm all about it. We do this every morning when we come to the studio. I don't put on my high heels. I put on flats, and I put my high heels in my purse, and it's always getting my bag dirty and other things dirty. So yeah, I'm going to put my shoes in here so I get them clean.
Wow, so small.
Just think, this saves all those piggyback rides those girls try to get at the end of the night when they're like, I don't want to walk home. Rob, can you give me a piggyback ride home?
That's literally true, Jess.
So I heard that when they invented these or whatever, they were out one night with some girlfriends late at night, and they were walking home from the bar, and the one gal grabbed her shoes out of her bag, and they said, "What are you, a flip-flop bitch?" So that's why they call it a flip-flop bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. It's vegan faux leather. It's made right here in the USA. You can get it online. They've got it in a few select stores in New York as well. It's really genius.
I love it. And it's beautiful.
It's changing the game. And it doesn't even have to be for a girls' night out. You can slip it into your gym bag, like Erin said, take it to work with you, because, you know, we're not all driving and traveling in our heels, but we want to make sure we arrive in style. So this is the absolute solution.
Save your feet. Not save the planet, not save the ocean. Save your feet.
And also save the shoes, right? Because you get some really nice shoes, you just want to wear them inside.
Right?
Oh, exactly. Especially, I drive a stick, right? And I cannot drive in my high heels. So I always have driving shoes with me. So this is now my solution. In my little Fiat that I lovingly call Pearl is my flip-flop bitch bag.
You're so OG, Jez. I have to say, I remember having cousins that were older when I was young. They'd have like driving gloves and driving. I love the idea that you have driving shoes. Yeah, they did. Driving gloves.
Back in the cold. I remember, okay, when you're in the cold,
I'm dating myself.
Sport mode. No, but I do love that. So we're really excited about them. Congratulations, Cindy and Laura, on this incredible business. We're really excited to incorporate
So what's going on, you guys? It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, and we have a wealth of community. We really want to honor one of our favorite people of the Focus TV family, Miss Leticia G. She's an incredible hair and makeup artist, and she was with us for the Daytime Emmys. And she brought in her friend GC Phoenix, who's an incredible shooter. He's an editor, he's a director, and they created a video, talking about building your wealth, whether it's online or your brand. It's crucial to have this content. So we wanted to share this special video with you. Let's take a look.
Beautiful, and
Killing it.
she just got engaged, is that correct?
Yes, a special shout out
shout
to
out.
Leticia G. Congratulations. We are honoring you and your fiance and wishing you nothing but love and light.
Oh, it's so great. Social media is such an interesting conversation, and I went down to Orange County, like I said, with a dear friend of mine, Brooke, who went back to New York, spent 4 days with Gary Vee, who has one of the most famous media companies. It's all about social media. And I think the biggest takeaway with all this is realizing that there's building a brand versus having production. And just because you build your brand or build followers or whatever does not necessarily equate to monetization, to production. And so I think it's a really interesting conversation. I know we've been having it a lot around here. What does that look like? Because you can just be posting all day, and you're just going to spin your wheels on what it is that you're really trying to do.
Absolutely. In a world where content is king, it creates...
Or queen.
Or queen. Or queen. Exactly. And it's necessary to have community, to have collaboration in order to capitalize on this. You have to build the brands and build your brands and figure out who works best with you.
100%. It's exhausting. I'm sorry. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. The social media thing is exhausting. And I love it. I love it so much. I do like consuming it sort of selectively. And I certainly love the idea of building a brand there and making sure that it's monetizable. And at the same time, I really love meeting people in person. I really love that human connection. I know that you can create that through social media, and it's just an additional instrument. So I love it for that reason. But I still intend on fully outsourcing, hiring it out.
Well, it's also what Gary Vee, I guess, was saying was that it is pay to play. It used to be where you could organically grow things, and you can a little bit, but not really. Like the bottom line is on Facebook and Instagram now, there's so many people that are paying for marketing there that you really have to pay to be seen or to grow your audience.
Oh, totally. And one of the things that sort of surprised me was how many people have this software set up, they follow you, and then you're like, man, I've got 100 new followers today. And then maybe you follow them back, maybe you don't. And then 3 days later, they don't follow you anymore because the software kicks in.
Unfollow, bot thing, and I think and it changes all the time. It's like now I heard the news thing is that if you have more than 5 hashtags, that they recognize that as you're trying to promote something, so they will shut it down. So less and less people see the post. So I don't know, wherever you guys find your info, you might want to get involved with groups that know these things. You got to stay in the know. It's an ongoing daily thing to know how to brand versus how to produce things. Very different.
That's a good point, Erin. Because I think a lot of us get caught up in just, if we can create enough followers or get enough likes, that'll mean something. But there's a whole other side to that.
Yeah, and not only that, it's so funny because I of course watch people that I think have huge followings, and the instant they post, they have hundreds of followers, like the instant. So clearly they're purchasing their X amount of likes right away on it, which is fine. But it's just like, this is a game, and know it's a game. So you're either wanting and ready to play the game or not, because it is a game.
it's a pretty slick game because in some ways it just feels like, oh, I'm just putting a post up, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. But it's a lot more complicated, a lot more complex, I should say,
Very
than
complex,
that.
for sure.
There are experts behind the scenes that make sure it happens in a way that's profitable.
Absolutely. You know, there's so many complex layers about business, and I want to take this moment to honor Kate Spade. Our love, our light goes out to the friends and family that you have, and may your legacy live on, because you are an integral part in building a business for myself. I remember that in my group of girlfriends when we moved to LA, and when we all got our first jobs, we all celebrated by giving each other these business card holders that were Kate Spade. And still to this day, when I give my business card out, I use that Kate Spade business holder. And it was like a rite of passage for us. So really, truly, she's built an empire and left a legacy.
Yeah, she's such an incredible story. You know, she started in a one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan with her husband, and over the course of decades built. I think it was how much it was like. I think it was 2.5. I forget how it's millions, tens and tens of millions of dollars. And,
Yeah, her company
right?
sold for $125 million.
$1
There's over 140 Kate Spade New York stores throughout the
Unbelievable.
entire country.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, she took her life yesterday. So we're knowing eternal life, eternal love, and for whatever healing taking place within her friends and family. It's a tough way to go because you leave a lot of heartache behind. So a tough way to go for sure. And knowing that whatever she was going through, that's what she did the best she could do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But if any of you need any support, please reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 1-800-273-8255.
Very well said. So let's take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to master your life with Mastermind. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into This Week in Focus. My name is Victoria Simone, associate producer here at Focus TV Network, America's first live streaming daily talk show network, but you already knew that. And today, I am in the beautiful Los Angeles with my girl,
Jazz Moye, co-host of Good Morning La La Land, coming to you from Bel Air. Absolutely La La Land.
So last week on the Focus TV Network, we had Reshape with Ali Landry, and on that show was Gail Becker.
She is the creator of Cully Power Pizza. It's gluten-free, guilt-free, and absolutely delicious.
We had Soul Reboot with our amazing host, Allison Charles.
And a special guest, Sahara Rose.
We had What's Good, hosted by Amy Paffrath and Justin Walter, and on that show was
Heartbroken Anonymous.
Naz Perez. We had hashtag Harry and Kelly with our amazing hosts Harry Howard and Kelly Russo. And on that show,
Focus TV family member, Ms. Laura Odegaard, host of Millennial
we
Life.
love you. Ms. Jeslyn Moye, who was on Good Morning La La Land.
We were absolutely motivated by Natalie Ellis. She is the creator of the Boss Babe. Yes, she is the OG Boss Babe.
Yes.
We also had Lori Harder, as well as Therese Germain, who's created a new dating and life counseling service called The Compass, really giving us a new direction.
We had Focus TV family Sally Cologne.
She is a filmmaker extraordinaire, female director, producer, and documentarian.
Yes.
And also,
Another Focus TV family member, Tanya Memi.
absolutely living it. And we are so excited to announce the latest issue of the Focus magazine. Gracing the cover is Miss Kelly Gore. She is the filmmaker behind Heal. In these pages, you'll find a great article, Not All Heroes Wear Capes,
Yes.
about Sally Cologne. Also on the cover, Mr. Mark Teschner, 9-time Emmy Award-winning producer, as well as Ms. Ellen Racketon. She served as one of the executive producers at Oprah Winfrey's show for 23 years and has won an enormous 13 Emmys for her creative work.
Thanks so much for tuning in to This Week in Focus. Have a great day, guys. I'm Victoria Simone.
It's going to be a good morning, La La Land. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are honoring hashtag Wealth Wednesday, and we have an exceptional entrepreneur in-house in the show. Good morning, Monty.
Good morning.
So we'd like to know, what does wealth mean to you? What is true wealth?
Well, true wealth to me is assets, and I get this question a lot from various people. What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy? And frankly, rich people can have a high income. A lot of rich people I see may have $1 million or $2 million net worth, maybe a little more, but it's really based on their income. Wealth is really different. It's based on assets, and I like to say income-producing assets. So as you build your balance sheet, wealth is focused on a balance sheet, and kind of more rich people, it's really income based. The problem with being rich and just the income based approach is that if you lose that income, you're no longer rich. When you build a lot of assets, you build those assets essentially, they can carry you forward, and really build your balance sheet. And that's really what wealth is to me, is having a strong balance sheet.
Spoken like a true financial genius. I can't wait to get some more tips from you later in the show.
So speaking of Wealth Wednesday, I want to talk about mastering your life with masterminds. I think that it's been one of the most profound areas of my life and growth, from linking leadership skills, spiritual skills, and business, because I think that there's usually a gap between the two. Usually some people are very, very spiritual and they just somehow haven't figured out and mastered their wealth financially, and then vice versa. A lot of people have figured out their finances and they are still kind of lagging that. So a true mastermind is really the mastermind, which is the one mind. And when we tap into that with other people in a mastermind, we're able to innovate and have creative ideas and thoughts of leveraging and building our team and all the above abundance in a mastermind. Have you guys ever been in any mastermind?
I've been a part of mastermind before, yeah.
Okay, so I have not. And mastermind to me has been just like a buzzword around the community. Everybody's like, oh, he was in my mastermind. I don't even know what that means. To me, that's like a fraternity of really smart business people or something.
I love
Good
that.
call, actually.
So a true mastermind is actually happens every quarter, because if you're a business owner, you've got to do your taxes every quarter. And so most masterminds are a 12-week process. So you do them 4 times a year. And from the leadership perspective, we take your goals, we actually set your goals in the 4 areas of your life, and we watch your ability to reach those goals at the end of the 12 weeks. So whether it be the numbers in your business, or whether it be setting it for your health goals or your relationship goals, or whatever it is, we want it to be measurable. And the reason why, from a spiritual perspective, we even want to do that is because we want to see where the blocks are, because we always call it like a wall of fire that people go through in their goal setting. And we know that we don't want to outline or get too regimented on our goals, but we also want to see what's holding us back from our goals.
I think I remember mastermind. I think it's a term that was coined by Napoleon Hill, right? So he wrote Laws of Success in 1925, and he coined the term. And the way I've always understood it is that it's a peer-to-peer sort of like mentoring and coaching program, or a group that you can be a part of. So I love the way you describe it, because I think that's even provides even more context.
Yeah. It's actually different. That's more of coaching, but mastermind is truly where you actually build your team. So you actually build it. It can be. It's generally 3 or more, but masterminds coming together with the same intention as a group, and everyone has their specific roles or specific strengths, and you basically are having that same intention, and you're using the mastermind. And Napoleon Hill was very spiritual. He worked with Dale Carnegie, who was literally the wealthiest man in America back in the turn of the century, and they went around and they interviewed like 500 millionaires at that point in time. Millionaires was like a billionaire today, and they found that the common denominators was that they basically ran masterminds. Didn't have that name for it, but that's what it was.
Well, isn't that what spawned the whole book, Think and Grow Rich?
Yes,
by,
absolutely.
By Napoleon Hill. It's really interesting because there was certainly a very common denominator, and one of those things was vision, right? And creating that vision for yourself. I freak out at that. When somebody told me to create a vision board, I burned it because I was like, I'm really not sure if I want to commit to this, because I want to expect the unexpected, because the universe might have plans for me that are bigger and better than I could vision for myself. So I got so stressed out about it, burned it, gave it to the universe.
I love that.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Sounds like a
yes.
movie,
Totally
some
awesome.
comedy movie about manifesting.
Oh yeah,
We all
I
had
get it
our
right.
vision
that
board
one.
moment.
I
Yeah.
just started crying. I literally like ripped it up and put it in the bonfire and poured a glass of wine. That's
We've
where
all
I
had
got
that moment. I remember
love,
breaking
for
mine
sure.
over my knee. Like,
Really?
oh, for sure. I broke that thing right over my knee. I remember being in Miami, like having nothing. I had no money. I had nothing. And I remember like, boom, I'm done with this vision board
stuff
thing, man.
doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I got to figure something else out because the vision board isn't working for me. I didn't
But
know so much.
apparently it works.
Yeah, I think it's also you're right, Jess, it's the intention behind it. So for me, I think, I was so focused on like outlining and scripting out the way my life should go. But I think should have been for me, I came to realize it's more about maintaining a certain vibration or energy around the vision board, which should be positive and appreciative.
It's all about, like the feelings and the emotions
Yeah.
that these things evoke. Not like, that man did not live my life and I don't live in that house or drive that car.
It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, well, I think you do have to have a team, though, because I think that we can have visions, but I believe that Spirit desires for us to get that team together because we're gonna have a weak link within each and every one of us.
Here's my challenge, and I love mastermind groups and I love the idea and I love teams, obviously. I think part of the challenge and the opportunity, I guess, is like I have enough guesses and opinions of my own. Like I don't want a whole lot more. So if it's like, if I'm getting feedback, and I think that a lot of people have a success story that's like post-produced, right? So like what actually led to their success is different from what they think led to their success. And so like scientific studies have shown like people are really bad at being able to identify what led to their success and what did not. They're like, oh, I really worked super hard, and then this happened, and they just, it's like, actually it was this one person who connected to that person, you're forgetting that. So I think with mastermind groups, and I love it, for me, it would be important that everybody in the group was still like either empirically based or experientially based, so that it was coming from a place of
That's why I
real
do a
experience,
divine
right?
mastermind, so that you're open at the top. We don't, outline. You still have to know that there's miracles that can happen or something beyond even I mean, even the show, you may have a direction and think we want this goal, but something completely different may come out of it. So yeah, for sure. That's why, my masterminds are spiritually based. So it just depends on the mastermind. But the distinctions are the same, whether you go to a strategic coach or Tony Robbins or anything, the distinctions are always the same. There's leverage in everything. There's, you have your strong geniuses, and you want to delegate and have teams and build off of people's strengths. The distinctions are the same.
Yeah, you know who my mastermind group consists of? You two and Andy Waldman. It's my entire mastermind group. Yeah, so I'm counting on you guys.
We are an entrepreneur night school on a daily basis. This is an incredible mastermind. But what should people look for, Erin, when you're saying look for this group, look for this mastermind?
I think that's a great question. I do think that you should look for people that you want to, they embody the qualities that you want as a person. They embody what you want to, the interests that you're in. Right? Some people have real estate masterminds. Some people have spiritually, like I do women entrepreneurs that are spiritual based. So it depends on your group and what you're interested in. So I would seek masterminds that are in your genre, for sure.
Should it be well-rounded as well? Because you probably don't want to get into like a groupthink mentality where you all go down, right?
Yeah,
Shouldn't you
the
no?
mastermind I teach actually teaches them how to create their own masterminds. Okay. So you really want to have your own masterminds in your money and career, in your health, in your relationship. You have a mastermind with your family. My son and I do mastermind every single Monday night. And so you want to have it in the different areas. And I think we get off balance. We think only mastermind in business, but that's not true wealth, right? We know that we need it in all areas. So just seeking out the group, like for you, Jez, you're in the entertainment reporting world. Like it'd be amazing to do one with that world where you are understanding and everyone brings, so it's like a synergy for that field.
Keyword synergy.
Keyword synergy, Jazz. Very
Well,
keyword.
hashtag that one.
But I just want to say, I'm just so grateful for all the people that have come before that have put so many amazing distinctions together, all the great minds in spirituality that has made it us able to have incredibly impactful masterminds.
To break through that wall of fire.
Yeah, so I'll be actually doing my launching the next one July, because that's the third quarter, and it's a 12-week program. We'll be doing it for online and in person. So love to have you join. DM me, and we will get it gone.
Yeah, I'm not doing the mastermind, so sign up for his. Stuff going on.
So let's take a little break when we get back. We're going to talk with one expert in the realm of real estate, but really learning the distinctions of leveraging assets, all those things we all need to know. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Welcome to the Focus TV studios in West Hollywood. I'm Jasmine Moyer, host of LA Unscripted and co-host of Good Morning LaLaLand, America's first live streaming daily talk show. And today I have the privilege to announce the latest issue of Focus magazine, and we're calling it the Empowerment Issue. These pages are filled with some of the most amazing personalities that are truly empowering others. On the cover is Ms. Kelly Gores, a filmmaker who's dedicated her work to empowering others to take charge of their own health and wellness and heal. We're also proud to feature Mr. Mark Teschner, a 9-time Emmy Award-winning casting director for General Hospital. I had the honor of interviewing Mr. Teschner at Prospect Studios, where he is empowering some of the most talented personalities in daytime television. It is an honor to feature Ms. Ellen Rackerton, a 13-time Emmy Award-winning producer known for her work empowering others through The Oprah Show and now in Red Table Talks. She is a true entertainment mogul, a loving mother, and an absolute empowerista. And speaking of empowerista, the creator of the Empowerista show herself, Ms. Alex Worley. And where can you find an LA dining experience that feels like home? Right in Encino on Ventura Boulevard. I had the honor of interviewing Chef Nigel at Davenport's, where it's good food, good friends, and great family. And Focus magazine readers now have a new morning routine. Bel Air is welcome to Mr. Warren Kalu, aka Chef Warren of Holy Juice, an incredible juice bar right at the Bel Air Glen Center. Also in this issue, Mr. Kim Vo, known as the best blonder in the business. No matter what celebrity he's working with, he always goes back to his roots. A special shout out to Ms. Lillian Garcia, who I had the honor to interview for the previous cover of Focus magazine. Part of her empowering tribe is From Music to Mindset with Arden Kaylin and Greg Sims with a practical goal-setting technique. And Elizabeth Winkler contributed a very empowering piece from Laura Wasser, who is changing the face with divorce because it's over easy. Also featured fellow TV host Ms. Lisa Torres, who's empowering us to live a very high vibe life. And not all heroes wear capes, and we're proud to feature Focus TV family member Ms. Sally Colon, the filmmaker behind Women Like Us documentary. And our travel editor, Ms. Wendy Brokaw, contributed a great piece about a chic hotel in the desert. Empowering us all to crack the code on social media, our friend, Ms. Emily Raber. And it was an honor to celebrate the 45th annual Daytime Television Awards. It was conscious conversation and red carpets, an epic week of glamour and giving back. I had the honor of interviewing some of the most prominent people and personalities in daytime television. A special thanks to Mr. Kent Speakman and Connect TV for partnering with Good Morning LaLaLand to empower us and entertain us. It's all empowerment in this issue of Focus magazine. We are the only magazine in the country that offers a full video library to complement our print features. Your favorite interviews are also available as a podcast on iTunes. I'm Jessamine Moyer, and for all of the entertainment, enlightenment, and empowerment we share today, don't miss the latest issue of Focus magazine. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLaLand. We are honoring hashtag Wealth Wednesday. We have an exceptional entrepreneur in the house with us, Mr. Monty Lee K-Wen. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
the show,
It's a
my
pleasure.
friend.
Over $1 billion in transactions. That's a big number.
It is.
Five
It is.
companies, over 160 employees, all before you were 40?
All before I was 40. Yes.
Did you know you were going to be such an entrepreneur?
You know, I consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I've always known I was going to be an entrepreneur. I didn't like working for people. Actually, I was a terrible employee. I consider myself unemployable.
What was your
frankly.
first job?
My first job was roofing. I was a roofer when I was a
tough one.
teenager. It was a tough one. So I roofed for several summers and in the heat, and it was rough. It was rough doing that. I didn't ever want to do that again.
My dad had a philosophy that if he could get me to do enough hard manual labor in the beginning of my life, that I would not want to do it in the later part of my life, so I would do things that paid more money. That was his philosophy, so he made me do the hardest jobs.
It's a good lesson.
Yeah.
You know, my parents always told me, hey, go to college, get good grades. And by putting me, you know, my dad had a friend who made me roof with his friend, and it was a good lesson. Yeah, I think I'll listen. I think I'll stay in school
Yeah.
and not do anything stupid.
It's worked out well for you,
It's
hasn't
worked
it?
out well.
What was the first company you launched?
So I launched a tech company in 1996, and that was my first stint. I was 19 years old. I got injured working at a warehouse, and I was broke, so I was struggling as a student. I was studying computer science, and started a computer company. My dad took me to a friend and he planted the seed and kind of almost gave me permission to start a company. It was in my brain. It was like, oh, I can start a company. I'm 19 years old. So I ran with it and I did it.
That's incredible, right?
And so you're in real estate. How did that happen? How did you go from tech to real estate?
So I ran my company for a few years and I sold it. And I moved to Seattle. And I went and did some work for some other tech companies, startup companies, and then the crash happened. And it was, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be someone's employee. And I also saw what it took to make money in tech, and it's raising a lot of money, venture capital and angel investors. And you're constantly fighting your income statement. You're running in the red for years before you can deliver product to market. And I saw that model. It's like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. This is too hard, and I don't want to be a slave to venture capitalists or
To the investor,
or angel
yeah.
investors. So I decided to do something different. And my wife had actually watched the Oprah show with Robert Kiyosaki on there, and that actually sparked the interest in real estate.
Wow.
Really? What was it?
He was my main go-to on real estate. Incredible work he did, huh?
Absolutely. He wrote this incredible book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he was on the Oprah show pitching the book and talking about his philosophies, and it really kind of triggered something inside. And it was like, this is an interesting path, and real estate has many more opportunities than I have in tech. So I decided to make the shift. But it's the learnings from his book were kind of a paradigm shift for me.
So why don't you tell us about those mindset? Obviously, I've read it a lot, but the audience, would love to hear from your perspective. What is the mindset of an entrepreneur, a real estate entrepreneur?
Well, being a go-getter first and foremost. I think if you're going to be successful in any business, you got to learn how to hustle, right? You've got to learn how to work hard, work smart. Understanding really the difference between an income statement and a balance sheet. And growing up, my parents weren't financially minded. I grew up poor. My parents weren't rich people, so we didn't grow up understanding all these financial skills. So I had to learn them, and I kind of started learning it when I started my first company. But really, reading books became a real catalyst to understanding. But just changing my mindset from being an employee to working for myself, paying myself first, for instance, making sure that I'm putting money into investments and I'm investing in my future. One of the most important things I've learned, frankly, is leadership development and personal development. You're the common denominator in anything you do, right? If you're going to be in a company now or a company in the future, or you're going to try, run a foundation, it's all, you're going to be the common denominator in all of that. So you've got to really grow yourself in order to be successful. And that's one thing that really, I think Robert Kiyosaki put me on that mindset of personal development.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to ramp up with that go-getter mentality? Did it take?
I've always been a fighter. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. We grew up fighting in the streets. So I didn't grow up with all of this.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia, in kind of the rough parts of Vancouver. So we grew up fighting, and so I've always been a fighter. I've always been a survivor. And so shifting that and becoming a go-getter wasn't too hard for me. I read this book. It's in the public domain. It's called The Go-Getter. It's about going after this blue vase. And in that book, it's about doing anything. You have to be resourceful. You have to figure out ways to go around things. So I don't let obstacles stop me. I'm resourceful. I push through it. And that's what you have to do in order to be successful and build companies. You have to be a go-getter. You have to push through the obstacles.
Absolutely.
Which is very different than I think most people out there. Majority of people that think I'm going to be an entrepreneur, they're going to start and they're going to produce a product or something like that, and or they're coaches or they're whatever it is, starting a business. And real estate and assets are very different. It's a different mindset, in my opinion. What would you say the difference is?
Well, real estate is obviously a tangible asset, so it's a little different than starting an operating company. And I have my own little mastermind group, and you were talking about that earlier, where I actually have several entrepreneurs, and we meet once a month, and we just talk and we help each other out and those sort of things. And they're from all different types of businesses. I'm the only one in real estate, but their businesses are really, really different. They're dealing with products and all this sort of stuff, or services, and I'm dealing with tangible assets. What I like about real estate is that with income-producing real estate, you can create passive income, and that's one of the reasons why people get into real estate. Passive income. There's tax write-offs and benefits of real estate, but passive income is taxed differently than earned income, which is really the benefit of going into real estate. And I like larger real estate. I learned really early on that small stuff isn't really going to really isn't going to get you there. It takes a long time. I bought a fourplex before I launched into large multifamily, and that was just total nonsense. I was like, I need more units under one roof. I
Right.
need greater economies of scale, and just having more tenants under one roof is a whole lot more security.
Yeah.
So in thinking big, you've launched an exciting new project. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we've been in business about 16 years. We've done about 1 billion deals. We've been an investment company working with high net worth investors, family offices, institutional investors, just buying large apartment complexes and developing them from the ground up. One of the things that when I first started this business, did a lot of public speaking on the speaking circuit and talking to investors, and a lot of people just wanted to get involved. How do I get involved? And a lot of them are unaccredited. So the type of business we ran was we only had to use accredited investors. So the unaccredited guys, kind of stuck on the sidelines, couldn't really get access to
So the audience
type
knows,
of real
because
estate.
we're getting a little technical right now. An accredited investor is somebody who I believe is worth over $1 million.
Over $1 million excluding their home.
Yeah, and so now the whole market's opened up to where anybody can invest in different things like startups.
That's right.
And whatever. So the investment world is opening up at a different level than it's been at for many years.
And we're taking
exciting.
advantage about that. We're taking advantage of that because now the average investor can get involved in projects like this. And we had the Jobs Act in 2012. Reg A Plus is a new regulation that allows general solicitation. And so we've launched this retail arm called Upside Avenue. And it's very exciting because it's a new REIT product. It's a non-traded REIT, but we plan to take this public in a couple of years. But the point of it is to allow investors access to large multifamily real estate across the country that they would never have access to.
Right.
An investor like
Otherwise.
me, who is very unaccredited. Temporarily, I'm just not accredited yet.
Exactly.
I have a vision.
I think it's important though, because I think that some people are very aggressive and they can have a vision, they can go in and do a fixer-upper, or they can, figure out a way to get funding and get a bigger apartment or whatever it is. But probably a majority of the people are not, they have traditional jobs and yet they want to be investors. So it's a great thing to begin to look at a REIT where they can invest in something that is real estate. It's with a bigger group that's been around generally. They're bigger projects. They're not kind of hodgepodge things that they can invest in, make a decent return, but not have as much risk because it's spread over a lot of projects.
Spread over a lot of different
Yeah,
projects,
uh-huh.
and in different markets and locations, and so it diversifies their investments. Getting into commercial real estate, just trying to jump into it is difficult. It's very different than single family homes. It's very finance oriented. And a lot of the people in our industry, they're MBAs from great universities like Harvard. So you have to learn. There's a lot of stuff to learn. So just trying to go out there and buy an apartment complex or big commercial building is tough for most people. So the better way to do it is to rely on a sponsor or someone who can actually do the work for you and collect passive income from the investment.
Yeah.
And that's what a REIT is?
And essentially, that's what a REIT is. They buy shares in the REIT and they get. And that's income producing. They get income.
Yeah.
The REIT that we are launching right now is, we're looking at 7 to 8% returns, annual type returns, and very, very low cost. Traditionally, REITs have had significant costs and 7 to 15% loads on those REITs, and we're doing a very, very low load REIT, really about 2%.
Fascinating.
But I think the point of this interview and all Wealth Wednesdays is really educating and just being in the conversation, because whether you don't plan on investing in real estate, there's still similar things. There's mindset of building assets. There's mindsets of paying yourself first, like taking part of your income and making sure that you save it and invest it in things that are assets. There's things that whether they choose to do real estate or you choose to do mutual funds or you choose to just invest in your own, whatever that is, that's important to begin the conversation and educate, and it all begins with the conversation for sure.
Absolutely.
So I want to just thank you for bringing in this conversation around real estate and a new possibility for somebody out there.
And we're going to continue the conversation when we come back.
Welcome back. We're talking about Wealth Wednesday with an expert about real estate. But the point is that we're having a conversation about building assets, how you invest, what this looks like, and just having a conscious conversation around it. So tell us a little bit more about kind of what you would tell people out there that maybe they've never invested in anything. What would be like some 101 things about investing?
Well, I think first and foremost is, put money aside to invest, because I think investing is important. But at the same time, you've got to educate yourself on what investments to do out there. And a lot of people just kind of throw darts at a board and hoping something's going to stick, and they lack the education. And really surrounding yourself, I think, with people that have good financial acumen and different opportunities to invest in. For the average person, I say a good financial planner is helpful to try and pick investments. I think if you're a little more aggressive and you're going into something more alternative, which is what I do, really, surrounding yourself with people that really get it, that really understand it and know it, so
How
you don't
do you
make
know, though,
mistakes.
if you're in a position where it's safe enough to assume an aggressive risk like that?
Well, it really depends on your balance sheet too, right? A lot of people will. I've run across investors who have their life savings and they go and invest it in properties and then they lose it all, and that's not very intelligent. You want to be able to diversify your investments so that it's not so risky. And even within our industry, we diversify. We diversify by product type or location or market. So diversifying is intelligent, but having good financial advice is, I think, is
sure.
very important to guide you and allocate your funds appropriately.
Any recommendations around choosing a financial planner? Because I think that's a huge piece, right? It's like if you don't know, find somebody who does know. How do you choose the right person?
So even I have financial planners and people that advise me, and one thing that I look for is people that have been in the industry for a long time, but also work with people that have the types of balance sheet that I have. I don't want to be their biggest fish, right? Because I want them to know the strategies and know the different investments to work with. So I think having someone, you want to find someone that you're comfortable with, but someone that has a depth of experience, a broad ability to find you different investments that really fit what you're looking for, fit your goals, your dreams, your plan, and help you figure that out.
Excellent.
I think it's good also when people have a passion about whatever they're investing in, because I think it is going to tend to have people be more interested, want to research more, investigate, and be more interested in their investments, which I think is fun. It's fun even when you're doing mutual funds. It's fun when you have one that is around companies that you're interested in.
I agree. You got to like what you're doing. I think if you hate it, or if it's something keeping you up at night that you're losing sleep over, don't bother doing it. Right? Do something that you like, that you're interested in, that doesn't keep you up at night.
Also age, I think that people can become more risky as they're younger. They can afford to take that risk. As you get older, you want to be more conservative.
Absolutely, yeah. The older you get, you have to be conservative, right? You don't want to blow it all, and then you reach the age of retirement and you can't retire. So you have to be very careful with your money, and your strategies have to change with time and age. When I was younger, in my 20s, we were very aggressive, and then when the kids came along, we became a lot less aggressive. And then now we are very, very careful with how we diversify our dollars, because now we're thinking of legacy. We're thinking about our children, and my daughter's getting ready to go off to college in the fall. And we're thinking about these things. Hey, we want this to last beyond us. So how do we maintain it? So we're keeping more liquidity now than we used to. We're investing in diversifying our own personal investments, as well as continue to grow our company and the operation that we have.
And real estate's been interesting because there's parts of the country that's been very risky. 2008, majority of my friends lost everything in the market. But what was interesting was to watch California and New York market. They didn't really, there's parts of LA and New York that didn't go down at all. And I know a lot of people that are doing other businesses, and their exit strategy is to buy and hold real estate in those markets. So what do you think about that? What's the difference between like a long-term, like where you'd put your money where it's, it's like completely like very low risk?
I think you got to do a bit of both. I think your financial strategies have to, as I said before, diversify as you get older. Investing all your money and all the time in value add deals that have a higher risk but higher return may not be the smartest thing to do. It's good to diversify, because in case the markets do collapse, it doesn't take you out completely. So even I have assets that I've owned over 10 years that we still hold because they're great cash flowing assets, and I don't want to sell them. But at the same time, I'm also doing value add deals where their risk reward is a little higher. But you just have to be smart. You can't always be on the aggressive side. You have to balance it out with some conservative investments. Otherwise, there's too much risk.
Beyond investments, do you have any other tips for just healthy financial lifestyle, healthy habits for your finances?
Yeah, I would say keep a budget, pay yourself first, invest in your education, put aside money, have more. The average American, I was reading lately that the average American has very, very little in savings. And most people, they have one crisis in their life they're in big trouble. So having money put away and liquid, and when I say liquid, you can get it in 3 to 5 days, and that can be in, in some stocks and bonds, but diversified so it's protected. But you have to build liquidity and have liquidity.
So important. Well, I think the point is that at Good Morning LaLaLand, we're really about mindset and just want to have a conscious conversation around this. The truth is that our birthright is abundance, and the law of the universe and everything else is that when we invest in things, it multiplies abundantly and reflects back to us. And so building assets like where people live in their homes, this is something we need, right? It's not like this is something that is of value for people. So real estate, I think it's something, obviously it's not going anywhere. We're always going to need real estate. So the point is that to claim your birthright of prosperity, whether it be in real estate or whatever, knowing that as we invest in things, the truth is that you can have assets and not have to work anymore. I mean, that is a realistic
right.
thing for many, many people. And you can do that if you choose, right?
Yeah, real estate is really the oldest form of wealth creation. And if you look at some of the really wealthy people, especially from the 20th century and the turn of the century, Andrew Carnegie and those people, they invested in real estate. Real estate it's a tangible asset, right? It's never going to go down to zero, which is nice. Your stocks can, right? So it's a great place to invest, and there's a lot of benefits from it. It's tried and proven. People have been doing it for a very, very long time, and just a good place to put your money.
So what's the first step then for someone like me who hasn't made any investments to get invested with somebody like you? What do I have to do to invest in real estate? And is there a price tag on this?
That's
What's
a great
the buy-in
question.
here?
There's multiple ways to get in the industry. The hardest way to get in is to do it yourself, or partner with friends and family and try and go on your own. That's hard. The easiest way, especially for the layperson, is really just get involved with a company that has a long track record where they can offer investments like what we're offering, is $2,000 minimum type investments, and getting involved in placing it into real estate.
So $2,000 to play.
$2,000 to play. Absolutely.
Okay.
There you go.
That
So funny. I think I said
reasonable.
Dale Carnegie up front instead of Andrew Carnegie. Isn't that funny? Anyway,
message.
just speaking of the masterminds, Andrew Carnegie, obviously. So yeah, so great. Yeah, so get involved, you guys. Look up REITs, do whatever. Invest in yourself, pay yourself first, for sure.
And educate yourself. I think that's the biggest point for me, at
That is
least.
a big point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And how can people find you for more information?
Well, I'm the CEO of the PPA Group, it's the investment company that I started. But Upside Avenue is this new retail product that we're launching. It's upsideavenue.com. You can also check us out at casorocapital.com, which is the parent company of Upside Avenue.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thanks
here,
so much.
sharing your
All
wealth.
the
We are
wealth.
Good Morning LaLaLand, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available as a podcast on iTunes. It's going to be a Good Morning LaLaLand.
All right, please like, share, and comment, you guys. Waking up the world together. Have a beautiful day.